Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining the Silence So Loud podcast. Our friend Drake Zavior is going to be on the show today, and we're just going to dive right in. We're going to call him right now.
Hello.
Drake, what's up?
Not much. How you been?
All right, man. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful.
You are on right now, the Silence So Loud podcast, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me back.
All right. Yeah, we were awesome last time. So you've been busy. How's the last month or so been for you?
Oh, it's been hectic to say the least, but I'm loving every minute of it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Couple huge weekends. One in particular, I flew all the way up to New Jersey for H2O wrestling. That was a fun one. Sean Henderson presents. If you get a chance, reach out to him. He's an amazing person as it is.
Okay. Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
promoter and a wrestler. Great guy.
Yeah.
Went still doing WWN. Wrestled over FIP about 2 weekends ago.
Right.
Something like that. Wrestled against Jonathan Hudson for my multimedia championship. Whenever that match comes out, you're gonna have to keep an eye on that. It was a banger.
Yeah, I saw the promo for that match where John Hudson grabbed the belt,
Mm-hmm.
and then I saw it on YouTube, and then he cut like a promo later on where he told you watch your back. You told him watch his back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was awesome, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But,
yeah. You look like you had a busy month, man. I was recapping everything, and it looked like, man, you were like one person all over the place.
yeah.
So talk about that multimedia championship, man, because that's just a smooth title. When I tell people that, they're like, "That's just really cool." So
Well,
explain that again.
um, it's one of those belts. It's a fighting championship belt, if you will. I am defending it almost
Uh-huh.
every single week over at WWN Proving Ground. They
Right.
give me a competitor, they put me against them, and let's see what happens. So far, still undefeated with the belt. I've kept it going. First and only multimedia champion to date for them.
Absolutely.
Uh,
How many days do you know?
I was we went back in July or August. August, I think I won it.
Right.
Or I believe.
Yeah. So when you got the
Uh,
belt like that, people are gunning for you.
oh yeah, the whole time. Back in the locker room, people are pointing at me like, "Hey, I'm taking that from you." Like, listen, put your name on the list, bud. I mean, come on. So,
Yeah, like I watched your match with Tito Torres, and a great finish because he yells out like, "I'm gonna win," and then
mhm,
about 30 seconds or so later, you took
mhm,
care of it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, that was awesome. So,
Actually, I just wrestled him for a second time back last week,
uh-huh.
on Friday. Yeah. So, but he's having some issues with his old tag team partner Benji Neptune. So
Oh,
they got to sort all that out.
right.
But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's been hectic. Me and Hudson over at that FIP show. Believe it or not, I had never beaten Hudson up until that point. Spoiler.
Is
But
he's kind of a big dude, ain't he?
oh yeah, no, Hudson's a big dude. I believe he's from the Chicago area.
Yeah, he looks like
Uh,
rough and tough guy, like,
oh
yeah.
yeah. Which listen, the next day I was barely walking after that match. We beat the hell out of each other. Oh
Oh,
my
that's
god.
great. Yeah.
So
So I imagine he's from the part of Chicago that's kind of tough.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a lot of fun. I'm a masochist. What do you want from me? But yeah,
Yeah.
it was great. People are comparing him to Goldberg in the match, and I'm like, I mean, you're not wrong, but you know.
Yeah,
So,
he just look yeah. I mean, I see the similarities, but uh he just looks like a tough dude that kind of moves like Dean Malenko a little bit. You know what I
uh,
mean? Like, yeah.
big
Yeah.
tough guy, another great person. I would go to the end of the world for that man.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw too that you had a match with Daniel Starling. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
that one. I think that was my first match after becoming the multimedia champion.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
believe so. Yeah, way back when. They're just now catching up and being able to post that stuff.
Yeah.
They've had some issues with their media team, and they're getting everything back on track now for WWN.
Right.
So,
So what's Jersey like? Is it kind of like, I imagine it's not like down here, Florida.
well, I, fun fact: I was actually born in Jersey, but I moved down when I was 5. So
Right.
I don't really remember too much, but I literally flew up there, got picked up from the airport, hung out with the promoter for a little bit, did
Uh-huh.
the event, and flew back to Florida all in one day.
Uh-huh.
So like a lot of city, a lot of traffic. It's I would have a mental breakdown trying to drive there. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm from a small town in here.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Orlando is terrifying to me.
Right.
Just riding around in Philly. I'm like, how do you guys do this regularly?
Oh yeah, I
Uh,
can't imagine. Yeah, it's brutal. I went
oh
to
yeah.
Manhattan one time.
Mm-hmm.
I went in the year 2000, and so we saw like the trade centers before the tragedy happened, and but like when we stayed in Manhattan, cuz we were like right near the Empire State Building. Like we are literally like the road over. But I was blown away cuz they got pamphlets in your room like telling you like New York is great, blah blah blah, but then it said if you if you have not driven in New York, we highly recommend that you just don't drive. Right? Like it was something to that effect, like just don't just don't drive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my wife and I, when we landed in the airport and we're taking the cab to the hotel, we see like a couple car crashes, and it's like, and there was like one guy where like you just sit in traffic, right? So you're just sitting there, and we're sitting there. This is back before Uber. We're just sitting in the cab, and the guy is like screaming at the other guy, saying like it's just a scrape, and this guy's car is like all caved in, like all jacked up looking, and the one guy is screaming at him saying it's just a scrape, it's no big deal, like, and we're like stuck like right next to this of this guy. What I got from it is he's telling the guy that it's basically no big deal. They should just drive on. And why are you making a big deal about this? And I'm like, he is like slammed this guy's car, like NASCAR. And he's just like, no big deal, And we're like, we're not driving. We're not driving. We're like,
Yeah.
we had no plan of like renting a car or anything like that. But we're like, we are not attempting to drive here ever. So, and it was funny because her grandparents, like I said, we went in like 2000, and they
Mm-hmm.
had been to New York in the 70s, and her grandfather actually got held up by a guy with like a switchblade knife, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess he was like a smooth guy, like a chemical engineer, and just, very charismatic. And he convinced the guy to give him some cash, because the guy like took his wallet and was like, and he's like, "You're just gonna leave us stranded?" So the crackhead like gives him cash, right? And I guess like they got a cab or whatever back then. But her grandmother, my wife's grandma, she was so freaked out that we were going to New York. It was like, why are y'all going to New York? Like, please don't go up there. Like, we got held up with a knife, and we're like, but we felt safe when we were there. Like everywhere we looked, there's a cop, like everywhere, right? Like I think
Mm-hmm.
this is whenever like Mayor Rudy Giuliani was like mayor, and he was like, I'm gonna clean the place up, and just cops everywhere we look. So, but yeah, definitely a different experience. I've never been to Jersey, but that was my Manhattan experience.
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah.
so,
But
so what's on the future? I know the holidays are coming up. Are you gonna back off then, or you just still go full speed, or what?
listen, I can't take time off. I'm getting too old for this as it is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, I have some more shows coming up still. I wrestle every Friday. The day after Thanksgiving, we are taking off from there. Luckily,
Uh-huh.
family time, Black Friday, digesting all the food.
Right.
Um, and December 10th, we are doing Battle for the Belts, another WWN pay per view out in Clearwater over at the OCC Roadhouse.
Okay.
Uh, so if I have the belt still at that point, I'll probably defend it against somebody there.
Yeah, that would
Uh,
be cool. Battle for the belts. And you
right,
and you got one of the coolest ones, man, like with that title.
right.
Yeah.
Um, but it's To my knowledge, and I'm trying to keep in touch with people. I got a few other places I want to hit up. I keep forgetting to hit up Beyond Wrestling. Some people are going to try to help me out getting on there. I'm going to try to get back up the Philly for WrestleMania weekend. Maybe get a couple bookings up there.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Oh,
a few
is
months in the future.
is that where they're doing WrestleMania? Is in Philly?
I believe so this year or
Yeah.
next year.
Yeah.
So
So, do you watch a lot of like other wrestling, or do you say no? I'm so busy. Like, do you watch like they had Crown Jewel? Do you find yourself watching that stuff, or you just kind of like do your own thing?
I try to watch it when I can. I actually did watch Crown Jewel. I've been trying to keep up with the NXT events as well because NXT, the wrestling on those shows have been blowing my mind lately.
Yeah.
Crown Jewel was a very good event. A little bit of things I didn't expect in there, honestly.
Like
Little
what?
twists and everything. Um, like was it Logan Paul? There we go. Can't
Yeah.
remember him. Getting the United States Championship off of Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, like his
I did
eighth
not see that
match.
coming.
Yeah, that's like his eighth match too.
Hmm.
So, what do you think
So
about him? You think he wrestles good, or?
so like the matches he has, great matches. The only problem I say with him
Uh huh.
is he wrestles once, maybe twice a month at the most. Typically, just a pay-per-view wrestler.
So
And
what I
when you
was talking
have
about the first time about these guys that just show up and they're like, "You're welcome," and they're not working.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. He is putting the work in. He's got Shawn Michaels as his head trainer at WWE, which is working for him,
Uh huh.
and obviously it is paying off because he is putting on these great matches. So I can't hold that against him. But it is one of those things where he had no training coming in beforehand, was able to get trained by one of the best and wrestles at pay-per-views. Is he a draw? Yes. But we have us busting our ass 3, 4 times a week sometimes
Right.
trying to make it there, and you know how that goes. So
Yeah. So you understand, like last time when we talked, whenever I was saying about how The Rock shows up,
mm-hmm.
and no disrespect, but you just show up, and then you're like one of these guys that, are just, you know, just working yourself to exhaustion, and then he shows up like, oh, I'm here. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
if you really follow the industry, if you're really a true wrestling fan, not like some fly by night, just kind of casual fan, you're like, really, like he's gonna get that, like even like Logan Paul, like yeah, he's put on great matches, but 8 matches deep and you're the USA champion, like come on,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yeah. So,
but
but he's not multimedia champion. So
true.
true, right? So
Hopefully, he doesn't start coming after my belt. I mean,
yeah, yeah, your belt sounds cooler. No disrespect to the US belt, but he's not multimedia champ. So, and what do you think about them? Like, I was watching it, and I only caught like the last 2 matches. I watched the LA Knight Roman Reigns match, and
mm-hmm.
I showed my wife. I said, they're in Saudi Arabia. She's like,
Mm-hmm.
what? I'm like, yeah, they're in Saudi Arabia, and she's like, really? Like, and then I told her about how like correct me if I'm wrong, but like originally when they went there, the women could not wrestle, and then they said they could wrestle, and then they had to wear like oversized shirt, and then now they're
Mm-hmm.
wrestling with like a long sleeve, and you know, and I'm like,
Yes.
I don't know. So what are your thoughts on that? Like going global like that? Like,
So, um, obviously, Saudi Arabia, they do have their different laws and their religious beliefs and everything like that, and
hmm
men versus women, everything like that. So, the fact that they let women wrestle and put on the matches that they can and are able to wear at least what they let them wear for this show, that honestly is a huge step forward, in my opinion, for them.
that's what I was telling my
So,
wife. I said, you got to understand that, like with their beliefs, like only not that long ago they were allowed to get a driver's license. Women were.
mm,
So this is progress because originally they're like they're not wrestling. Now they are. So that's progress.
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I actually was discussing with one of my friends that was it a few years ago, Sami Zayn, for being the ethnicity that he is, wouldn't have been like they would have probably run him down there, but he is one of the most loved superstars
Yeah.
in all of Saudi Arabia. Like every time he shows up, you hear the crowd explode for him. It's fantastic. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I met him whenever he was doing a house show in
hmm
Lakeland, and I met him when nobody, he was up and coming, nobody knew who he was.
gotcha,
Yeah, he was there at the house show. It was pretty cool.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Like right after he was El Generico.
Yeah, like right around that time frame.
All right.
It was a house show that I got tickets off. I don't know if you listen 98 Rock in Tampa.
hmm
Um they had like a name that Metallica tune, and I won the tickets cuz I like did it the quickest or whatever. So I just went to a house show in Lakeland, but it was good. Like sometimes I like those house shows that they do because it's like a little less scripted. You know what I
hmm
mean? Like sometimes like I feel like when you go to like say a Monday night show or whatever when it's like strictly for TV that when you're
hmm
there you lose things because they're catering to the television, you know?
Yes.
So a lot of times you're like sitting there like, like what's going on? Where are we at or whatever, and they're doing things for TV, you know.
hmm
So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I completely understand. Whenever I used to go to the NXT shows around here, and they would interact with crowds more and joke back and forth with you mid match and everything like that. It's a lot more fun for house shows that they're kind of like seeing what works and what doesn't work, and who
right,
who's gonna step up on the next show and everything like that.
right, yeah, yeah. Like we went to Ring of Honor one time.
Yeah.
I want to say that was in Lakeland too,
hmm
and we were sitting right there in the front. And my son was younger then, and it was like the interaction. He thought it was great. Like he was like, this is better than attending like a Monday Night Raw. Like he just thought it was cooler that way. You know, so but I understand that they have to do some things for TV, so that kind of changes things, for them. But
hmm
it's like I went to I don't know, like, have you been, I'm sure probably been to a WrestleMania
I
or,
have not. No.
oh, you haven't? Oh,
No.
yeah. You get kind of really lost when you're at WrestleMania because it's long, you
hmm
know? So you're just sitting there from a fan's view. You're like, man, I have sat here for like 8, 9, 10 hours, right?
Yeah.
And you just feel kind of like, I think that's why, like, whenever I went, they weren't doing the 2 nights, right? Now they're doing
hmm
2 nights of WrestleMania. But whenever I went, the huge match was Shawn and Ric Flair. It was Ric
Okay.
Flair's retirement match, and it was in Orlando. So that
Okay.
was like one of his retirement matches.
Yeah. One of his 7, 8 matches.
Yeah, what do you think about that? Like Ric Flair and these guys like going on and on and on. What are your thoughts there?
If you can keep going, keep going. I mean, personally, I'm gonna keep trying to do this as long as I can, as long as my body holds up. So,
Uh huh.
I love the sport with all my heart. I mean, I've gotten messed up plenty of times, and I'm still walking back in it. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, everybody talks about that, and I'm like, I don't think there's a number, like, oh, like, you hit this and you can no longer wrestle, right? I don't think
mhm.
that exists, right? I think it's more
I,
like, my uncle was telling me this. He's like, can you pull it off? All right. Like, if you're 60 or 70, can you pull the match off where you're not insulting the business
exactly.
and you're getting that crowd pop? you
hmm
know, because I saw like Sting announced he's gonna do his final match, and I don't know if you've heard like who the rumors are it's gonna be. Like they've been all over the place. Some people are saying Ric Flair, but I think he's still for a guy his age, he pulls it off well, you know.
Yeah. I always forget how old Sting is because he's got the face paint all the time. It's like, and he still moves pretty well to my knowledge.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. My uncle jokes about that. Like, the face paint, and he's like, and then always cover your body. He's like, because when you get older, right, then they don't start judging you. Like, I'm like, yeah, that's actually smart. He's like Taker kind of stay covered up a lot. He's like get
mhm.
away with more that way. I'm like, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like you got like the Rock that comes out with his like bodybuilding body, and then when you get older and it starts breaking down, people start judging. You
Mhm.
know, so what are your thoughts on that too? Like, like I'm sure you've probably seen like the demise of the Ultimate Warrior. What do you think about these guys that are like, I'm a bodybuilder, and they just kind of like go, oh, I think I'll just try wrestling, and then you're like, dude, you have no idea, right?
Oh yeah. Uh, Honestly, like just talking about there's this is a guy who got famous. He was doing videos. He's a bodybuilder, and he would go in and just like, oh, I'm gonna see how much this hurts, how much this hurts, what this is, and he does the dumbest things like, oh, what's it feel like to get shot by like 100 paintballs in a row or something like that, and it's it's just this huge guy, and he's obviously just doing it for the views and everything. But you see him like get hit a few times. He's like, nope, hold on, stop, and he's like falling down, not realizing how bad
Right.
everything's gonna feel.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
um, like if anybody has a passion for wrestling,
Hmm.
bodybuilder, baseball player, whatever, soccer, and you want to give it a try, go for it. I'm not going to hold it against you. But if you're just, hey, I'm a big dude, I can get into wrestling, stay out of it. Like that's a terrible mindset. Just thinking, hey, I'm bigger than other people, I can do this. You know what I mean?
Right. Or you have like the football players who are like, I can't play football anymore. Like I think it was like, was it Lawrence Taylor? Like he tried it, and they're like
Mhm.
literally carrying him to the back because he's so exhausted. Right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I didn't know that, it was like this much work. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I tell people that I'm like, you see these guys in a match, right? Like your matches, and you're going at it for 10, 12, 15 minutes.
Hmm.
Like go try that for 10 minutes and tell me how you feel. You're going to
Hmm.
be utterly exhausted, right?
Yeah.
So I find
And
that
then to do
entertaining
that
when
multiple days in a row.
right.
Oof.
Right. So I find it entertaining when these guys are like, "Yeah, I can't do my sport anymore, so let me just go roll into that."
Mm,
And then you
yeah.
just go, "Dude, you look terrible and you look drained." Like you look utterly exhausted, you know?
Hmm.
So, yeah, it's definitely just a tough sport. So,
Definitely.
all right. Well, anything else you want to talk about? You kind of recapped your heavy October and got the holidays coming up, and I'll remember that battle to the belts. Do you
Yes,
have
sir.
anybody that you think you'll probably be facing? Like any ideas, or kind of like just see how it
Well,
goes?
um, as of right, they have as of right now it announced on the show. If I keep the belt until then, it'll be me versus John Hudson once again for the belt.
Oh, that'd be great.
They have that on the Facebook page,
Uh-huh.
but let's see if it all stays true. If I keep the belt, if what happens, because at oh man, I don't want to spoil too much, but there's a little bit of controversy at the end of my match with him at the last FIP show. So once that's out,
So
give it a
once you
watch.
see
You'll see
that
what I mean.
controversy, you'll kind of get an idea.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
well, yeah, there's a little bit that happens there. We're going on a little bit of a story right now. So,
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome.
the words
So
of Cody, you got to finish the story, right?
yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's the worst when they just kind of ignore the story. Like that's so key to do the story, follow the story, in the story. So,
exactly.
all right, well last time you cut a promo, so how do you feel? You want to cut another promo on our way out?
Nah, not this time, man. I'm kind of exhausted today, unfortunately.
Oh, okay,
Sorry.
yeah. No, that's fine. I understand. I get it.
Gotcha.
So, all right.
Uh,
Well, thanks for calling in, man. I appreciate it. Continue the hard work. Thanks for being on.
yes, sir. Thank you very much. And again, if you ever want me back, just let me know.
All right. Sounds good. All right.
All
You
right,
take care. Thank you.
no problem.
All right.
You
Bye bye.
too. Have a wonderful night.
All right. Take care.